Nomi Gonzalez was a 54-year-old woman who disappeared on the night of February 12, 2014. She was last seen sleeping in her bedroom. The next morning, she was gone, and no one has ever seen her again since that day. The police have searched extensively, and many theories have been elaborated about her strange disappearance. But what really happened that night? Here is her story. Nomi Gonzalez was born in Puerto Rico on November 4, 1959. She left Puerto Rico at the age of 9 to start a new life in New York City. She later moved from Manhattan to New Jersey, where she lived for many years. In 1985, Nomi moved to North Miami, Florida with her mother and son. Her mother was aging, and her oldest son, who lived in the area, had been encouraging her to move to a warmer climate. Nomi had worked various jobs in the community over the years, including nursing homes and the police department. She had to stop working due to back injuries and neck injuries as a result of being hit by a truck in an accident at work. Despite her disability, Nomi was still very active in her church and community. She planned events for the church, hosted Bible classes for local children, and visited nursing homes weekly. She was also a former crossing guard and worked in the record room and as a receptionist at the North Miami Police Department. She was described as very caring and a very creative woman. She loved to do art and crafts. Nomi was a Christian woman who was always putting a smile on people's faces. She was kind and gentle and was very involved with her church and community. On February 12, 2014, Nomi went to bed as usual. Her son, who was staying with her at the time, saw her late at night when he got up to go to the bathroom. After that, Nomi was never seen again. In the weeks leading up to her disappearance, Nomi's family said that there was nothing unusual going on in her life. She went to church with her sister, went shopping, and spent a lot of time with her niece, who lived in a neighboring town. Her adult son, Pedrito, came to live with Nomi temporarily. Pedrito had been living with his girlfriend and their child, but about 2 to 3 months before Nomi disappeared, he came to stay with her temporarily because he and his girlfriend were having problems. The day of her disappearance, her son came home that evening, spoke to her, and she went to bed around 10 p.m. like every night. Her son reported seeing her asleep in bed around 2 a.m. when he got up to use the bathroom. The next morning when he woke up, she wasn't in the house. Her personal belongings were all there. Her cell phone, her pocketbook, her eyeglasses, her medication, everything. The doors of the home were closed, but not secure. There was nothing unusual in the house. It was just the way it always was. So they went next door to her brother's house to see if she had stopped by to see him that morning, but she hadn't. Then they called her sister, who lives in the next town in Florida, to see if she was there with her, but she wasn't either. And here is where the nightmare began. Nomi's son thought that maybe she went to a doctor's appointment with her friend, or maybe they went shopping earlier that day. But when he called his aunt to ask her if she had seen Nomi, she said, "What do you mean she's not there? No, she's not with me." That's when they realized something was wrong, and they immediately contacted the police. Liz Gonzalez, Nomi's sister-in-law, took a photo of Nomi and started making flyers. She literally hit the ground running, going out and passing out flyers, talking to people, and walking the neighborhood. The police also started interviewing the neighborhood, trying to find out what people knew. After Nomi was reported missing, the police came out and searched her home and surrounding areas. They did aerial searches that same day. They came in and did 4 where they call the crime scene investigation. They found nothing. They also brought in search and rescue dogs, but they couldn't find anything either. There was no trace of Nomi anywhere. Her bed was unmade, as if she had been in it and then just disappeared. Everything else in the house was undisturbed. The police believe that whatever happened to Nomi must have happened very early in the morning hours or late at night, because she usually gets up very early to make coffee. Nomi was known to make her bed in the morning after she woke up. Her son reported seeing her sleeping around 2 a.m., and by 8 a.m. when he realized that she was gone, her bed still appeared to have been slept in. The coffee maker was also not turned on, which was unusual for Nomi, as she always made coffee first thing in the morning. The police found these 2 pieces of information significant. They believed that if someone had taken Nomi from her home in the early morning hours, Before she had a chance to make coffee or make her bed, there would have been some sign of forced entry. However, there was no sign of forced entry, so they launched an investigation into the possibility that Nomi may have been abducted by someone she knew. Everyone in the neighborhood came together to help look for her. At this point, Nomi's family was desperate to find her. They had done countless things to try to put the information out there. They ran campaigns, all types of media events, billboards, her poster on bus shelters and benches in the area. They also offered a reward for information leading to her safe return. Nomi's family was hopeful that surveillance videos from other homes and businesses in the area would turn up some clues. However, they were surprised to discover that there weren't many cameras around. "There isn't much surveillance, unfortunately," Liz said. "It's extremely unfortunate because in this day and age, where we think and we assume there's cameras everywhere, there isn't. And unfortunately, there was no CCTV or anything in the area, and none of the neighboring homes had surveillance cameras. So we had nothing to go by in terms of any kind of video footage of what happened in the course of that night," she added. The lack of evidence as to what may have happened to Nomi has been a source of frustration for her family and the police over the last 6 years. There was no reason to believe that anyone would want to harm her. She was not someone who had any enemies. She had no one who disliked her. She was just extremely likable. Liz, Nomi's sister, said in an interview, "She was so likable that it was hard to imagine anyone wanting to hurt her. But something happened, and we don't know what it was. Did someone come into her home?" The crazy thing was that nothing was disturbed in her home. If someone lured her out of her home, it had to be someone she knew. She wouldn't go with a stranger. Liz also indicated that one thing that Nomi enjoyed doing was going for walks. She said, "She liked to walk a lot, so it's possible that she went for a walk that morning and something happened to her, but we don't know for sure." Different lines of investigation were started at that time. There were many possibilities of what could have happened, and these are the ones that have been investigated. Her medical condition. Naomi had some medical conditions, including epilepsy and cardiogenic shock syndrome. Some people believe that these medical issues may have played a role in her disappearance. She was diagnosed with epilepsy as a child. She had her seizures under control with medication, but she would sometimes experience episodes of disorientation. She would click her tongue and become very confused. These episodes were rare, but they could have caused her to wander off. Naomi also suffered from cardiogenic shock syndrome. This condition can cause blackouts, which could have made it difficult for her to get around. She stopped driving a few years before her disappearance because she had a couple of fender benders as a result of her blackouts. Liz, Naomi's sister, said that Naomi was not known to go anywhere on her own because of her medical conditions. It is possible that she had an episode while she was walking and got lost or injured. It is also possible that she was abducted by someone who took advantage of her medical condition. However, at the time, the police ran numerous interviews with people in the area. They were not able to find any single clue or any witness that may have seen her walking on the street. Since there was no CCTV footage, they were unable to check any video evidence to support this theory. Additionally, Naomi's medical conditions were under control, and she had been taking the proper medication for both. A second line of investigation was open for a possible voluntary disappearance. Some people have speculated that Naomi may have walked away from home on the day of her disappearance. However, this theory has been quickly ruled out by the investigations. Naomi would not have left her essential medication and personal items at home on the rare chance she left her North Miami duplex without informing anyone. She had strong ties to her community and no reason to leave. She was active in her church and her neighborhood, and she had a close group of friends and family. She had no history of mental illness or substance abuse, and there was no reason to believe that she would have wanted to leave her home and her life behind. Also, there has been no bank or credit card activity under Naomi's accounts since her disappearance. This suggests that she did not leave home on her own will. If she had left home, she would have needed to use her bank or credit card to pay for food, transportation, and other expenses. Naomi did not own a car. She had a medical condition that made it difficult for her to drive, and she relied on public transportation or rides from friends and family to get around. The fact that she did not own a car makes it unlikely that she would have been able to leave home on her own. Finally, their last possibility was a theory of foul play. This theory was also very unlikely, since there was no evidence of violence or disturbance at her house. Her family reported that while the door was left unlocked, There was absolutely no sign of a struggle or a break-in at the scene. Considering that there was a great window of time, at least 6 hours, between her last sighting and her son finding her missing, some type of foul play and cover-up is possible, but seems unlikely to have occurred at the duplex. Her family also reported that Nomi would not have answered the door for a stranger, and that they cannot think of anyone who would be motivated to hurt her. Though her family thinks it is a possibility that she was lured out of bed, they don't know why or how someone would do so, and it seems unlikely she would not have woken up her adult son in the case that someone had tried to get her outside in the middle of the night. Adding to this, there have not been any suspects connected to her case, and her son has never been taken as a suspect either. Naomi Gonzalez's case remains unsolved. Repeated faxes and calls have been made to hospitals, emergency rooms, and medical examiners' offices. Both scenarios and possibilities have been searched for NAMI research. The medical examiner's office is still in contact with them. If something that might be related to Naomi's case is seen, it is looked up on the internet. They also have a login to NamUs, a national missing and unidentified database. Naomi's family is actively searching for her. They have created many campaigns and a Facebook page in the hopes that someone will come forward with information about her whereabouts. Finally, in 2016, Liz, Nomi's older sister, said in an interview on SWVN, "We realize 8 years later that the outcome may not be obviously what we would like, but we need to understand, and we need to know where she is and what's happened to her. We keep on waiting, we keep on looking, we keep on searching. We are living in a nightmare every day." With all respect to Naomi's friends and family, I hope that someday she can be reunited with her loved ones and finally find peace in your hearts. If you stayed to the end of this video, please leave a like and subscribe for more.